Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Cephus Simmons. I'm the CEO of SealCath and the founder and the inventor and a few other things. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, and then we're going to get right on into the... My clicker's not working. Next. There it goes. Thank you. It works now. So again, I've been at NMUSC for 27 years. The product that I invented is the Cephas Catheter. It has 2 patents. It's FDA cleared, and it has a few other options. I'm going to tell you a little story. First, I have a few questions. Is there anyone out here that ever had a bad stomach ache? Nobody? I thought the whole audience would hold their hand up. But why I told you that is because I got called in one night. There was a 5-year-old baby that came in with a bad tummy ache. And after the ER looked at them and found out what it was, the kid had a condition where the bowel telescoped upon himself and caused it obstruction. In order to fix that, we had to use this product that could seal off the rectum to where no air could move out of the rectum when you put it in. It's a touchy situation. But we were using a Foley catheter, which is a catheter that we use for bladder, to drain urine out of bladder. It's the only catheter that we had at the time. And while doing this kit, it took me 40 minutes to do this procedure, which usually takes about 20. And out of frustration, I went back to my office and I tried to find another product that would work. And I couldn't find anything. The entire procedure, I would get up to a certain limit of pressure, and then everything would just leak back out. So I looked upon myself and I said, this is not what we should be doing in medicine. We should have products that works and products that's going to work properly. So I set out myself to find a product that would work. So here's our problem. The catheter that we were using did not make a seal at all. And every time we would try to do something, it would decrease back to where we were. So we were extending our procedure time to the point where we were taking up too much time in the room and delaying the next patient that was behind us. So our solution was the Cephas Catheter. So with the Cephas Catheter, it comes with 2 balloons. You have one balloon that sits inside that's spherical. The other balloon sits on the other side that's more of a pear shape. Everybody asks me, why did you make a pear-shaped balloon? Well, if you look at the anatomy that the balloon sits in, it creates a pear shape. And you can get graphic and see what I'm talking about, but I don't think I have to go into detail. So at this time, I'm going to show you a little movie. That's going to tell you a little bit about
various colorectal procedures, an airtight rectal seal is required to achieve optimum colonic distension. But without an airtight rectal seal, a good colonic distension may not be achieved. This will lead to a poor diagnostic yield and a decrease in procedural outcome. SealCath's Cephas Catheter is a double balloon catheter that creates an airtight rectal seal required for colorectal procedures such as intussusception reduction, virtual colonoscopy, and barium enema. The double balloon technique improves colonic distension and provides an improvement for diagnostic yield. The Cephas catheter helps improve the efficiency of intussusception reduction. The rectal seal will provide a constant intracolonic pressure, which will increase the success reduction rate and can prevent many children from having an unnecessary surgical procedure. When used in a CT colonography, the Cephas catheter aids in providing adequate distension of the colon to visualize polyps of various sizes. Appropriate colonic distension will stretch out the haustral folds and improve visibility of the entire lumen of the colon. How the Cephas catheter is different from the current single balloon catheter. While the Cephas catheter is simple and easy to use, The current single balloon catheter requires the use of tape and buttock squeezing. It helps minimize the need of an invasive procedure such as surgery. It greatly improves the diagnostic yield as well as the efficiency of various colorectal procedures, and a reduction in preparation and procedure time. Cephas Catheter is an effective, easy-to-use rectal catheter that is safe and provides efficiency, while also improving the diagnostic yield and preventing rectal leakage during procedures.
All right. Next slide, please. So basically what we're trying to do here now is that we have something that works, and we know that works. It's been proven in clinical. It's been in the market for now 2 years. We came out with the silicone version, the latex version first, just to test the market. It was cheaper to make at the time. And once we test the market, now we know that we have an application and we have a need for it. Now we're coming out with the silicone version, which is non-allergenic and can be used by everyone. There was a portion of patients that we couldn't use the latex with because of allergies, but with the silicone, we'll be able to use it for all the patients. With the decrease in time that the procedure would take now, we're looking at 8-to-1 return for hospitals, insurance carriers. As far as the procedure we're doing now, we can do in half the time. And by doing it in half the time, we can actually get more patients coming through the hospitals and through the procedure rooms, which would cut down on the cost of the hospital and increase the amount of patients that can come in, which would increase the revenue of the hospital. So we're looking for, in the next 2 years, to actually take control over all the colorectal procedures that's now being performed with the Foley catheter. So here are all the target market that we are looking at. These are applications right now. As you mentioned in the video, they talked about the interception reduction, the colon, virtual colonoscopy, and the enema. The other two that were added on were rectal contrast CTs, which we just published a paper on this week on that one. Mucus fistula refeed was one that we're going to add and start looking at right now. That one is another pediatric case that we're collecting data on right now, but that's going to come live in January. Market size. So again, 5 applications. In the US right now, there's about 770,000 procedures performed annually that uses my product, which projects about $236 million. In Canada, it's about 400,000 used annually right now, which is about 120 million. Accessibility, we're looking to sell to hospitals and to medical clinical sites. In the US, we're going to use distribution, and we're going to use the SealCath staff, which is me and my wife. And in Canada, we are actually already started interviewed. We interviewed 5 distributors already, and we have 2 that we're going to start doing business with as soon as we get the license in Canada. We already have a patent there. So how are we going to market? Well, right now, we're marketing to all the radiologists. We've been focused in one area. Starting the 4th quarter of this year and 1st quarter of next year, we're going to actually expand and go to pediatric surgeons, colorectal surgeons, gastroenterologists, and some of the medical facility offices. We're also going to use social media. We've now set up a platform on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. We have a YouTube page now that's live, and we're going to move forward on those. There's our team. And the business model, basically, we have staff, myself and my wife. We have 2 OEM distributors, which is Bard Medical and Spectrum Plastics. And our revenue model, basically, the catheters are being made by a manufacturer, bought by hospital and direct distributors. The payments comes net 30 for hospitals. All the distributors will pay us immediately. That goes into the SealCath funds, and two FTEs are paid, and PRNs as needed. Financials, we're looking in the next 2 years to make $6.2 million per year, capturing about 20% of interception, 10% of CT contrast CT studies, 35% of the mucus fistulas, 10% of barium enemas, and 15% of the virtual colonoscopy studies. And funding, right now we're looking for $1 million, which is going to go into paying for licensing in Canada, product expansion, inventory, marketing, and working capital. Thank you. All right, questions?
Your product compared to the Foley catheter?
It's a big difference. Foley catheter usually costs about $20. My product's, bottom end of my product will be about $300.
And any concerns with provider adoption rates?
Any concern with?
Provider adoption rates?
No, I think right now, since this is a product that's in the wheelhouse that I've been working in for 20, 30 years, I think as far as the radiologists go, they are open to purchasing it. The cost is not the case here, and the comparison is not the case because we're looking at a product that is a urinary catheter product, so it's not even made for colorectal use. So our catheter is the first and only colorectal catheter on the market, and we have to look at it on the point of it being an exceptional new product and not a comparable product, because there's no comparison.
You talked about strategic partnerships that you have in place. Why wouldn't you turn to a Bard or whoever for them to do the marketing and the distribution of the product rather than you trying to create the market, if you will, on your own?
That's a good point. Basically, what we're looking at now is to gain a little bit of the traction. Bard is looking at us, and that's something they will do later. Right now, we're talking with Bard, and they're actually doing drop shipping for us. So basically, when we get customers that have a large order, Bard will ship it directly to them. So it won't come through a middle person. I'll basically get the order, and then the order will be forwarded to Bard, and Bard will drop ship it to that page, to that client. We're starting there now. We are looking for a company to license and take over. But until we, get that agreement in place, this is the next best thing.
How do the hospitals tend to order? Do they order 1 month supply, 1 year supply? How does that whole process work?
Well, it all varies. We have a few hospitals in the upstate, not upstate, but up in the country, in the north. They usually order a few at a time. And then we have the local guys here that order lots of them. And it all depends on the demand of the procedure at the time. So it's hard to say they ordered a month of supply at a time or not, because in some hospital, they could use 100 of mine, 100 catheters a month, and then the very next hospital next door could only use 10 a month. So it'll vary on the size of the order pertaining to what procedures they do in that hospital and what the demands are there.